Another day, another bit, another day, another large bank fine for precious metals market manipulation. So remember I said I would come back on for some breaking news? Well, I just put on Zero Hedge, and right on the front page there, another large bank was fined for precious metal market manipulation. So let me just read this real quick. It's going to be an impromptu, very short update. On Tuesday after the close, the CFTC, Commodities Futures Trading Commission, announced that Merrill Lynch Commodities, MLCI, a global commodities trading business, agreed to pay $25 million to resolve the government's investigation into a multi-year scheme by MLCI precious metals traders to mislead the market for precious metals futures contracts traded on the COMEX. Wow. So let me continue with the story. As MLCI itself admitted, beginning in 2008 and continuing through 2014, precious metal traders employed by MLCI schemed to deceive other market participants by injecting materially false and misleading information into the precious metals futures market. Over the relevant period, the traders placed thousands of fraudulent orders, and all they were fined, and they probably profited off this for God knows how much money, was all they were fined was $25 million. And I think half of it was a civil complaint by the CFTC. The return on investment for fraud and manipulation by these banks, whether it's Wells Fargo stealing whether it's Wells Fargo like creating fake loans for customers and then creating commissions, or all these other precious metal market manipulations, is just ridiculous. Let me read some of them off and I'll wrap this this update up. Okay, so for the people saying that precious metals market manipulation is a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, there's no proof of this. Okay, in 2016, we had Deutsche Bank settling a case for market manipulation that was filed in 2014 by the Commodity Exchange. And Deutsche Bank conspired with Bank of Nova Scotia, Barclays, HSBC Bank, Societe Generale to fix London gold market fixing. So they settled for, on December 3rd, 2016, $60 million. I'll attach a link to that story if you want to take a look. There's more. Scotiabank also ordered to produce internal documents on October 11th, 2016. And here's a story about that. I can't remember if they settled or not. It says it later in the article. I honestly don't want to read it. I'm just fed up with all these markets being manipulated. And finally, before this Merrill Lynch one, and by the way, Merrill Lynch is owned by Bank of America, and Bank of America is now cooperating with the CFTC. Now, in 2018, there was not sure if it was a settlement, but the guy he pled guilty to manipulating U.S. metals markets for years. Former J.P. Morgan trader pleads guilty to manipulating U.S. metals markets for years. This was in November 6, 2018. The trader pled guilty, and I believe he hasn't even been sentenced yet. And in open court, he told the judge and the jury and everyone in court that it was a open secret among trading floors, that how to manipulate markets, that basically he was told by his bosses that he would get away with it, that it was easy to make money, and that's why he did it. So I think he was the fall guy. He said that he learned how to manipulate prices from more senior traders and that his supervisors at the firm knew of his actions. And this is actually on CNBC. I have the CNBC story up. They actually ran it. Shockingly, they actually ran it. They probably didn't mention it on TV. If they did, it was for no more than 30 seconds or a minute. New normal, folks. Market manipulation. So, breaking news. Another large bank fined for precious metals market manipulation. This time it was Merrill Lynch, which is now a subsidiary of Bank of America, which got bailout money. And, this is so many banks that are doing this. And the return on investment for all of these market manipulations is just insane. They make more than 10 times the money manipulating markets. You're awaiting another gold raid tonight on the gold price? It looks like it wants to, in the near future, maybe in the next couple weeks, or a couple months, test that 1450 overhead resistance, which is kind of like it's been overhead resistance for a long time. There was some technical traders that were saying under my videos for weeks before gold got anywhere near 1400 that it wouldn't get to 1400, it wouldn't stay there, and look, it's already been over 1400. So the Commodities Future Trading Commission, CFTC, fined another large bank, but only $25 million for manipulating precious metal markets for 6 years. They admitted to 6 years, maybe it's longer, and they only paid a $25 million fine, so the return on investment of market manipulation to fines was more than 10 to 1. Might have been 100 to 1. If the bank makes billions of dollars manipulating precious metals markets and only pays a $25 million fine, the return on investment is enormous. The same bullshit return on investment for lobbying. The lobbying return on investment, I believe, is 100 to 1 dollar spent. No, I don't know if this is immediately going to mean a gold drop, but the story came out after market close. So all these banks, whether it's Wells Fargo, who is screwing their own customers, or it's or it's all these other banks that are manipulating precious metal markets, anyone who says that this is a tinfoil conspiracy theory, first of all, show them to the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, or GATA. Those guys do incredible work over there. The mining companies should donate to them, but the mining companies, CEOs, most of them don't believe in gold or silver, and they're cowards. They don't want it. They're scared of the banks, that if they're caught donating to GATA, that the banks will kick them out of their management job. New normal, folks. Hey, really thank you for the $50 super chat donation. Thank you, Vention Magtau. I appreciate it. Oh, Bitcoin allowed you to retire. Pretty impressive. And you could take some of those Bitcoin trading profits later, and you could go buy some gold, some silver, and some rental properties later. You can diversify your assets. So thank you for the $50 super chat. I appreciate it. That's like a nice dinner out, halfway decent dinner out. That's not enough for a nice date here. Unfortunately, the girls here expect they want a Michelin star now. Okay, well, I'm gonna ramble too much, and I will attach links to these stories. But basically, now there's been, let me count here real quick. There was a fine in 2016. The original charges were in 2014. There was more stuff in 2016 from the other banks that Deutsche Bank named. On top of that, JP Morgan guy got caught in 2017. I think his trial was 2018. I think he's still on trial. He hasn't been sentenced. I think his trial's over and he hasn't been sentenced. Maybe they just are going to send him to an island like Napoleon. He's going to take his $20 million bribe or something, keep his mouth shut and go off and never talk again. Or he's going to serve his jail sentence and his family's going to get a $50 million fund wired to their Caribbean account or something. Because that hasn't happened before. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And then the most recent one was announced today. So that's 3 really big ones in just the last 3.5 years. So 3 really big announcements just in the last 3.5 years, give or take, of large banks being fined for precious metals market manipulation. Although gold is going higher now, but silver's still screwed. Silver still hasn't done much, stuck in the mud. We really need these copper miners to go bankrupt. We need them all, the copper, lead, and zinc guys. We need them to go bankrupt. We need that silver byproduct to go to 0. Or at least be cut down a lot. Okay, well, I think I've rambled long enough for the 9 minutes without a script and botching all my answers here. So I'm going to go take a break and relax. I didn't plan on doing this. I just saw this news story and thought since I cover gold and silver, I would actually speak on it for a couple of minutes. And I'm going to go lift some weights now. Everyone have a great rest of your week.